Hey, what's up, everyone? Greg Gordon here on the Mentor My Mix podcast. Welcome back. Today, I have as my guest Big Rich, a real San Francisco original in the rap game. Grew up in the Fillmore district, and he got his start back in 1998 with a track called Fully Loaded. And some of the influences he's had in his career and the people that have touched his career have been pretty substantial indeed. We're talking about San Quinn. We're talking about JT the Bigger Figure. We're talking about E-40 and his ability to get signed and be nimble as an entrepreneur in the industry. And then his transition to creating Project Level, an education-based company that's now giving youth their opportunities to come up in the industry and become who they want to be, not just rappers, but we're talking about videographers, we're talking about producers, we're talking about graphic design, A&R, label management, so many different career paths that can touch so many different lives. You're definitely going to want to check this out. Don't miss it.
Mentor My Mix with Greg Gordon. Mentor My Mix.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mentor My Mix podcast. Today I'm here with Big Rich.
What's going on, Greg?
Hey,
how you doing, bro?
I'm
Thank
doing
you for
great.
having me.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to have you here. You know, it is so cool to watch you in your early days coming up on this video here, and even back then, you know, you're talking about the business.
Yeah.
You're talking about what you need to know to come up in the business.
Absolutely.
And clearly, that's been a career path for you.
From
you
the
know?
jump.
From the jump. Yeah.
I'm getting nostalgia right now just watching this. It's like I'm smiling. I was a 24-year-old kid back then, you know? It's
I
crazy.
know. Look at you all baby-faced
I
and
know,
everything, huh?
That's why it's so funny.
What? That's awesome to see. So tell us a little about this, the video we're watching here, and
Yeah.
how did this jumpstart your career?
Right. So, I mean, you know, it was a time where I was transitioning out of a rap group. I was in a rap group called Fully Loaded. It was three of us. One of the members, his name is Toriano. I don't know if y'all familiar with it, but he owns a big vegan restaurant in Oakland called Vegan Mob.
Okay, yeah.
And he's the owner of that. So he's a successful entrepreneur, and a young phenom named Bailey, which was our big homie San Quinn, was his little brother. And we had a big rap group that we was doing our thing. We was all in high school, touring, doing all kind of stuff all over the country. And we grew up. You know, we became in our early 20s. We started having children, and like it was like bills needed to get paid, right?
Oh yeah.
So
life happens.
right. So we disbanded on a positive note, and then like a year later, I got my solo contract through Street Cred Music, which is Street Cred is the CEO, Chuck Kelley. He's now Nick Cannon's #1 guy. He runs Incredible Records down in LA. But he secured us a deal with Koch Records, which is E1 Music Group now. But at that time, I was label mates with DJ Khaled, you know who he is now. Cameron and Jim Jones and the Dipset and all them in New York. So, you know, I was kind of like an unknown solo artist at that time. I came out of a group. So we really had to get in there and do a great album. And then E-40 came along and heard the album. He's close friends with Chuck. He heard the album and he wanted to put his stamp on it, which was huge for us at that time because he was like on fire. Hyphy movement was going crazy. Yep. He had just did his deal with Lil Jon. He had to tell me when to go out. So he was going. I think it was platinum at that time with his new album. So putting his name on my album really helped. And then we shot a legendary video in Filmo, and around 400 or 500 people came out.
That's the video we got playing right here, right?
Right. Around 400 or 500 people came out that day. Never been done before. Never been done since. And Tuma Basa, who runs YouTube Music,
right.
He was over at MTV and he caught wind of this. And he loved it and he made it Jam of the Week.
Yeah, he's like the ambassador of black music culture on YouTube. Right.
Yeah. And he loved it at MTV and he put it in rotation. I think we was getting like 15 spins a day on MTV throughout all their networks. And it just took off, man. It was on after that, you know.
That's a pretty awesome jump start right there. Now, when you talk about the album that you had to make sure that this dropped in a big way, right? Now, how was that album made back then? Because I know your start was in the studio, wasn't it?
Facts.
You had your own home studio going back then, right?
Definitely. I used to make beats. I started off at like 11 years old. I was making beats just on my little Casio track. I had a 4-track. My mom and my dad saw that I really wanted it. So I had a 4-track early and some little Yamaha keyboards and stuff. And I used to just make beats. And then I got this DR5 drum machine, and my beat making ability went through the roof a little bit. started making a lot of buzz, in the neighborhood. I was 13, 14, 15, young dude making beats. So a lot of people wanted to come record at the house. And then Toriano, like I said, Toriano and Bailey, they reached out and they wanted to start a rap group, but they wanted me to kind of produce. They didn't want it was like, I didn't know you rapped or whatever, but I was like, nah, I'm about to start rapping. And we went up to a studio in by Twin Peaks. Dion Pete, it was his studio. We recorded one song, and I never stopped rapping after that. I was in love.
So this was fully loaded, right? And you got signed by Charles Kelley and San Quinn.
Yeah, San Quinn. Most important. So Charles Kelley was the brain, and San Quinn was like the superstar rapper. It was like Dame Dash and Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like Quinn was Jay-Z, Chuck was Dame Dash, and they were partners, and they blessed us. And we were kind of like the nucleus of the record label. The label was called Done Deal Entertainment, and we were like the foundation of that label. So it was a fun time.
And this, was this with a group or this was your solo career?
Nah, that was with the group. So that was from, I think I was 16, 17 when the group started, and it lasted until I was around 23, 24.
Right. Yeah. So that was a good run.
It was a good run. Definitely a good run. Learned all of the foundation of business and how a record label was supposed to run, because Chuck and Quinn, even though we were independent, they moved like a major record label. You know what I'm saying? Like we had security, we had chauffeurs, Did
they have major label ties at that point with distribution?
No, they was just like Chuck knew how to go get the money. You know what I'm saying? And Quinn was just like, at that time, was like one of the biggest artists in our region. So he had so much influence and stuff, and it was just like everything was at our feet. We had to work though, but we just had so many resources. You know what I mean? So when I saw that I was actually a better writer than I was a producer, even though I loved producing and I made good music, but I fell in love with writing a lot more. So I stayed on the rapper side, and I haven't made a beat in about 22, 23 years. So, but it was cool.
Who were your biggest inspirations as rappers?
Oh, at that time.
Yeah, at that time.
San Quinn and Tupac.
Oh, Tupac, huh?
100%. I was devastated when Tupac passed away. I was a student. I hated Biggie because of him.
Did you?
I hated
was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
huh? I was. So is that you were feeling that East Coast, West Coast thing?
I felt it too much almost. You know what I'm saying? It is funny because I ended up, do
you think Tupac influenced that a lot?
Yeah, I think Tupac. I just think because of his passion in his music and just him as a man. As a young 14, 13-year-old kid, I was just like, I love this. Like, like that was the first artist that kind of touched my soul, if you get what I'm saying, right? Like, was a big fan of Kumo D, Run DMC. I'm old enough, I'm privileged enough to be able to have seen the Houdinis and NWAs at their start, but the music never touched me until Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Because I started seeing things in my life that was parallel to what he was talking about in his music. So it touched me right there. And then San Quinn just being like an older figure in the neighborhood, like a phenom in the neighborhood, because he was only like 3 years older than us, but he was like Tupac of San Francisco at that time. Right. So to see those two was where I pulled from for inspiration. For sure.
So do you feel in a way music could have maybe saved your life?
Music definitely saved my life. I'm damn near I've been wanting to tat that on my body for a long time, but music for sure. Like anytime I go speak, and the reasons why we get to that later, but the reasons why I do what I do today is because music for sure saved me. It for sure saved me.
So at what point did the San Francisco Anthem hit?
That came a little bit later. So the record that we just played, that was my first like introduction solo wise to the industry. Right. And then we was popping. That was 2006. And we recorded SF Anthem at the beginning of 2007, but it didn't come out till like November 2007. So the next year is when we got that record. And that's when my life changed completely.
Let's play a little bit of that track. So everybody's got to catch this vibe because this is something special for sure. Especially coming straight out of the Bay, coming straight out of not only the Bay but San Francisco itself. That's real. It's the Fillmore,
This is the first record that had them playing us in London, and because it's either somebody came from San Francisco, was born here, went to school out here. Sure. So it was just a record that touched, and it's an emotional record too. It was produced by Traxamillion, who recently passed away, unfortunately, to cancer, man. So he put his stamp on this, though. Yeah.
Now, what about that sample? This one right here that we're hearing. How did that come about?
Yeah. So the producer, he was just messing around with some stuff. He had made a big anthem for an artist named Keek the Sneak out of Oakland.
Oh, I remember Keek. Yep.
And he was a kid from San Jose, so San Jose didn't really have big rappers at that time. You know what I mean? So his job was to be like, I got to get anthems for all these other big rappers from these different cities.
Yep.
So he went to San Francisco. I was buzzing at that time. I was probably the biggest rapper out here at that time. He shot me this beat. He said he was just vibing out. When he sent it to me, it wasn't done. And I couldn't catch it. I was like, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I don't know if I like it. And he was like, just do your verse, man. You know what I mean? I sent it to them too. I sent it to San Quinn and Boo. They laid their vocals quick. I was like, damn, now the pressure's on because it was my record. You know what I mean? I laid my verse in like 20 minutes. I just kind of threw it together, put it together. We sent it back to Traxamillion. He sent it back this way. And we sent it straight to the radio the next day. And it went from one day it wasn't on the radio. The next day it was a number one requested song on KMEL, and it was over from there.
Now, was that San Francisco sample in there when you got
Scott
it?
McKenzie, yeah. So rest in peace to Scott McKenzie. He actually cleared it for us, but he took 100% of the publishing.
Oh yeah.
And like 10,000 for the sample. You know what I mean? Just a fee.
Okay.
And so,
it's good
but
to
it's
hear
okay.
that. People need to know that.
Yeah. So he and it was crazy because he passed away a year later. So we don't even know. Somebody in his family right now is benefiting. This record is sold close to like 400,000 units. So it'll be gold before I die. I'm sure it'll be gold. And we didn't get none of the publishing, but we made a lot of money through concerts and touring and stuff.
Sure.
Also,
right.
Yeah,
so the amount of promotion and visibility that it gave your solo career was significant.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like imagine at that time when you can actually take your music and put it on YouTube first, what it would be. So instead of 4 million, it'd probably be at 400 million today. Sure. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we had to choose. So it's just a little you know.
Well,
little behind the scenes.
That speaks a lot to, obviously where the industry's come.
Right.
And the ability to self-promote and generate revenue from your content in a whole new way, in a significant way. I know we went to an event together just last week, that spoke directly to that, YouTube Avenues. And I think that what stunned me is that they paid out $6 billion to music artists last year. That's a huge number.
And it was probably 6 million back then at the most, right? Like,
So in terms of user-generated content, this is clearly gone to a whole new level.
Right.
Yeah. And so now you got one more track I'd love to talk about. Talk about this one here. Balance.
The Can't Go record. The reason why I even sent that over too was that happened by accident. So I'm before you play it, like I never even rapped on this beat. My friend Balance, it was a group album me and him had did. He was a big artist at that time from Oakland, and the Jacka, rest in peace to him. He's from Pittsburgh, big time artist, huge legend in the Bay Area. They had this record. I wasn't feeling it again. So this show you all three of them songs you just played.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to record all three of those records, and it ended up being my biggest songs in my career, which is crazy.
Oh yeah,
I didn't feel like rapping on this record, so my engineer at that time, especially, he was like a wizard. So he went on a whole nother. He was like, "We got to do it."
That?
His name is DEO. He took one of my verses off a whole nother song I did, chopped it up, fixed it, put it on here. It flew in perfect. And then voila, this song ended up not in the Bay Area, didn't get as big, but Sacramento, Fresno, Seattle, Phoenix, Arizona, Albuquerque, New Mexico. This record was like top 5 on all the radio stations all over the place. And we made tons of money and toured off this record too. And it wasn't even supposed, I didn't even want to rap on it. I didn't rap on it, actually.
You see, I mean, there's two big takeaways that I'm hearing there. One is you don't know what's going to be your biggest hit as an artist, and having somebody to bounce it off of or somebody else to give you that perspective.
It's so important.
Super important, right?
Super important.
Super
Absolutely.
important. And then the concept of regional. Location by location, not thinking like, oh, I'm just going to be a big hit everywhere, because that just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen now either.
No,
right?
It doesn't.
It's very, very rare.
Very rare. You're absolutely right.
So the sense of like, knowing where your fans are, or at least discovering where your fans are.
Correct.
And that's something we can do a whole lot better now with analytics and the data that's being provided through, geolocation on Spotify, on YouTube, and paying attention to that and how to nurture those things. I mean, those are huge takeaways right there.
Super.
Well, it's undeniable that collaborations in the rap world are so huge.
Right.
And you guys using that to leverage each other up, and
Absolutely.
And these kind of partnerships are just significant in career development.
Definitely.
Who would you say your biggest partnership was as a solo artist?
Good question. That was a great question, Greg.
I try to come up with them.
Right. I mean, of course, collaborating with San Quinn and doing SF Anthem was the most lucrative one. But just everything that E-40 opened up for me. E-40, that's priceless, man. And that's why it's so important as artists that's on a higher stature to reach back, because if he didn't stamp me the way he stamped my album and put me out and jumped in the videos and brought me out to big show, like I performed in front of 30,000 people multiple times with 40 at San Jose arenas, Oakland Arena, you know what I mean? Like just doing arena stuff was because of 40, and that validation helped me out so much with my credibility. You know what I mean? Like
what was the business relationship between you and he?
He didn't want $1.
He didn't want $1.
He didn't want $1.
That's what I wanted to come out here.
Yeah, he didn't want $1. He just wanted to see it work. You know, at the end of the day, it's like we had an obligation to make it work, though. Like, look, I give you this. I'm gonna give you my name, the likeness of it, but make sure you go do your job too. You know, instead of just being like, all right, well, what you gonna do for us next, 40? Like, we didn't ask him to do nothing after that. It's just like show up for the video and that's it. Everything else was when he started bringing me out to concerts and stuff. It was because he saw the work we was putting in on the street. You know what I mean? So he like, I like what y'all doing. It wasn't a part of like a deal or a contract. It was pure love that he had for Chuck, my business partner, and then the music. He liked the music, so it was good. It was good.
That's that says a lot about him and the character of the man right there.
Absolutely.
And I think it's worth noting for sure.
Yeah, he's a very, very great, genuine and generous man. If you get close to him, you'll love him. He's just a great dude, man. He's a good guy. Couldn't have done it without 40 though, for sure.
There you go.
Sure.
So then, the years obviously have gone by and things have evolved, and now you've gotten yourself into a whole new level of project, giving back to the youth, and then but still keeping your feet squarely in the music industry.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about that. How did that transition happen for you?
It was about a year after this came out too. I was the digital age was coming on strong. So me and my wife Danielle, we just started looking at other ways of opening our portfolio and expanding it. So we started a marketing company like 2010, and we was helping independent artists kind of navigate through the industry, showing them how to do it. Through that, we was like, man, let's start them younger. I was, this is going back to Music Saved My Life. I just kind of gestured to Danielle one day, like, let's start a school. And she just, you sure? Like, I'm like, yeah, like, let's start a school. Let's start them younger. Let's just figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So a week later, she came back. She didn't even tell me. She just came back with a whole blueprint and a model of like an 8-week program that we can just do for the summertime. The whole idea is just to train, teach, and provide tangible resources for the youth to get into the music industry and be professionals and be entrepreneurs. And it's been going great. We like to let the youth dictate what we do, right? Like if they want to dance, we started the dance department. If they want to do photography, we started that. Originally, it was just music with the intent to show them how to be engineers and A&Rs and stuff, right? Like that was the intent, but they spread it out even more. So we developed branches and we kind of we expanded to meet their needs.
Well, all of those elements support the music, right?
Correct.
You're gonna need dancers in the videos.
Right.
You're gonna need photography to promote the releases. You need graphics. You need all of those things. It becomes a very diverse. I mean, it's interesting because you started a label services business first.
Correct.
And so you took the concept of label services. It sounds to me like you turned it into education.
100%. And then used the same aggressive marketing style to build it. Well, 5 years in, it took a minute, but and we always knew we used to say this is gonna be a 10-year investment. 10-year investment. We got to pound the pavement for 10 years to establish the proof of concept. You know what I mean? But 5 years in, we met a kid named 24K Golden that just graduated. At that time, he was just graduated from Lowell High School from Lakeview in San Francisco, and we met him. And that just changed everything. The kid was like, he was a superstar. Like he had the brains, he had the look, and he had the music. and he already had everything in place. We just helped showcase him. He did a talent showcase that we do that we actually finna bring back next month. That's what we was meeting about at your space the other night. Called The Next Big Thing. He participated in that, came in like 4th place, did terrible, which was crazy. And then we said, don't worry about it. We got something for you. So we linked him up with our business partner in LA, and he ended up getting signed to Columbia Records like 3 months later, and had a platinum record he got signed in November 2018, and he had a platinum single by January 2019. And it's just been going ever since.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, the kid is phenomenal. He's been doing great. Then he ended up getting another record called Mood that went #1 in the country for 8 weeks, and it went, I think it's at 6 million now, 6 million sold, and he got a few other platinum records. So he's all in total
6 million physical units.
Units.
That's amazing.
Amazing. So
in this day and age, that's beyond amazing.
Right. When they saw Golden work, then that was the language that Forever 21 was speaking. That's the language that YouTube is speaking. They like, okay, this kid really started here, and now he's there. How can we help y'all do even more?
Do more of that.
And that's how we landed right now, currently, with a situation with Warner Music and Atlantic, where they like, if we give y'all some money, can y'all create what we do up here, but from the community base, and start with the kids and build it from scratch and have something organic? And we said, absolutely.
And that's an incubator. I mean, you guys are incubating talent at that point.
Right.
And I think what's for me particularly interesting here is, it's important to incubate talent, but not everybody's going to be a star rapper. It's not even close to possible.
Straight up.
Right. That's your 1 in 100,000 or 1 in a million, maybe.
Right.
But the fact that you can create a diverse set of careers,
correct,
that support that infrastructure, and then elevates everybody in the process, right?
Absolutely.
And that to me is huge. You know, that's what I talk about here on this podcast is, finding your career in the industry and acknowledging
mentor my mix.
That's right. And acknowledging that not everyone is going to be the superstar, and far from it, right?
Right. You're
but
right.
the amount of infrastructure required to support that one superstar is significant, right? How many students are you seeing flow through your program now?
So before COVID, we used to do 200. We got a concrete of 80.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of like do one-offs and stuff for different kids. Like we'll do workshops, let them come in, they can work. So we see about 300 kids now, but we mainly work with 80. You know what I'm saying?
80 is still a lot. I mean, in the big scheme of things, it's a lot to manage 80.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Students, right?
Right.
And the resources for that. So
correct. And this is another thing too. We want to just show people too the art of collaboration and the art of bringing two different entities together, and how it can really benefit the artists and the youngsters and stuff tremendously. You know what I mean? Because now this is a one-stop shop now for us. You know what I mean? But I love the product. I love being on this side way more than I did as an artist though. So I'm stuck. You feel me? I'm here.
What do you mean you're stuck, man?
I'm stuck.
This is a choice.
It's
made,
like no. But I'm saying like it's a good stuck though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, because people toy with the idea like all of the time. Like, Rich, maybe you can come back. Maybe you can. I'm like, nope. I'm happy over here. I love this. I love what I do, and I started losing my love for being a rapper. But this is like an endless love. You know what I mean? Like it ain't no turning back. So.
And where do you see this going? What's the next 3 years looking like for you?
Definitely want to fully establish and build out all of these partnerships that we have, because there's still some of them is still in the incubator process, like the real beginning. So I want to see it out, see it through, and I just want us to all, you, myself, Project Level, Pure Mind, everywhere, to be that hub. I want like what we're doing right here, and then that beautiful facility you building over there, you got. I want that to be the epicenter where everybody comes through the Bay Area, and they come and this is one of the stops they come to, and this is like a pillar in our region. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely the goal. Yeah, I think we're gonna tackle that for sure.
That's awesome. I love that goal. I love the discussion we've just had here. It's great having you on the show. Yep, and looking forward to what's coming down the pipe for us.
Let's do it.
Yep, so check it out. You can obviously learn a lot more about Project Level. You want to shout out where people can find out information about Project Level here?
Yes, sir. Definitely go follow us on Instagram at Project Level, all one word. Follow me on Instagram is big.rich, so big.rich, very easy. 1015 MGMT is our management company. Follow us, get to know us. You probably already follow Pure Mind. So follow, get to know us and check out this collaboration we're going to work on.
Yep, and at Mentor My Mix.
At Mentor My Mix.
All right.
On every camera.
Peace. Mentor My Mix is made possible by Pyramid Music and Audio Production Institute. Evolve your sound with expert trainers and up-to-date courses designed to fit the needs of emerging artists and producers looking to build careers in the music and game audio industries. Go to pyramid.com for details on the San Francisco campus and online programs. Remember, if you have a guest suggestion or want to contact me for any reason, we have a contact form on the Mentor My Mix website. That's mentormymix.com. Or feel free to email me at greg@mentormymix.com.